everyone. In this video we're going to take you through the coding tutorial of how to code your Dragster so that you are able to have a countdown, add the sound effects, as well as capture the time of how fast it takes your Dragster to go from the starting line to the finish line. So we're going to start. Here we are in projects, and we're going to scroll down here, and we are going to go down to other again. And we're going to create a new project. We're going to select word blocks. And the first thing we will do is we will rename this project file so that it represents the name of the project. Now for me, I have several versions of this. So this is actually Dragster 4 for me, but for you, you can just call it Dragster or whatever name you want to give it. It's your program, you decide. We're going to start with this yellow when program starts block. We're going to go ahead and keep that on the screen. And to begin with, what we're going to be doing is writing a sequence of code that's going to do a countdown timer of a 3, 2, 1, just like a race would start. And then we're going to use a broadcast signal that's going to then trigger another segment of code. And the reason we're doing this is so that we can isolate our code, isolate the variables, and if you want to expand upon this, it's pretty easy to do to have different functions happen within your code. So we're going to start with the purple light coding blocks. And to begin with, we're going to go ahead and we're going to use this turn on for 2 seconds. And we're going to do a countdown timer of 3, 2, 1. So we can make each of these a 1 second block. And as opposed to a smiley face, I'm just going to redesign this to be the number 3. So we're going to go ahead and just clean up some of this. So it's going to display 3 for 1 second. I always like to add a little bit of color, so you can create this the way you want, but I'm going to go ahead and start with the red, almost like a stop sign of we're not moving yet. And we're then going to go here to sound, and we're going to start a sound. And we're just going to play a quick little sound, so we're not too worried about the time of it. So we're going to drop here to this add sound, and we're going to search for the one that's called ping, and we're going to go ahead and add that here. And we're going to add that to canvas, and we can just go ahead and now choose that. Once we have this in place, this 3, turn the light on red, and the ping, we can go ahead and right click this, and we can duplicate these blocks, and I'm actually just going to duplicate it 2 more times for a 3, 2, 1. So now what we can do here then is just change this as opposed to a 3. Let's go ahead and make it a 2. I'm going to change this to a yellow, and we'll keep the ping. And then I'll drag this up here, and we will make this a 1. There we go. And then we will make this green because now it's time to take off to the races. And once we have that, that's our beginning sequence code. We're going to come over here to the yellow, and we are going to broadcast a signal. So we're going to use this broadcast message 1, and we're going to change this to a new message, and we're just going to call it start. That way you can start to run some different kind of code and sample different things if you would like. So now that we have this, here's what's going to happen. It's going to count down on our screen 3, ping, 2, ping, 1, ping. It's going to send this signal, this broadcast start signal. So what we need to do is trigger that so our robot, our Dragster, will take off. So we're going to use still in events this when I receive message, and we're just going to stick that right there. And we're going to choose start. So when broadcast start is signaled, boom, it's going to ping over here, and now this is going to happen. So one of the cool things about your Intelligent Hub is there is a built-in timer that gets activated when you start your program. So at this point, we're going to reset our timer so it's at 0. And now when our robot goes to move, we're going to have an accurate time. So we're going to drop over here to this repeat, over to these control blocks, in these orange blocks, and we're going to look for the repeat until block, and we're going to drag that right over here, and we're going to use one of your sensors. In this case, we're going to use the color sensor, and we're going to drag this over, and we're going to make sure this is in your port properly. In our case of the demo, we have port A, and we're going to go ahead and keep this red. My finish line that I built was red, so if you have a different color of tape or flooring, you would choose the color that you would like to use for that. So I put down red tape. So what's going to happen here is this robot's going to do everything in this repeat block until our sensor sees red. Then it's going to go ahead and kick out of that. And what we want our robot to do, we want it to take off. We want it to be as fast as it possibly can, because this is a dragster. So we're going to go here and we're going to set our movement motors first. And we're going to set our movement motors, in the case of this robot, to be an F. There we go. And we're going to start moving. And there's some different ways to do this, but I really like this block that's down here in the more movement blocks. This other pink block down here at the bottom, and if you don't have that, you would just go here to these extension blocks and you would turn that on. So I already have it added for this code. You would just hit add, and then this option is going to show here this more movement block, and we're going to use the start moving block right here. We're going to go straight. Now the way we have this built, our motors are actually going to go backwards, so we're going to go at a negative 100% power, and it's just going to go full throttle until it sees red. And once that happens, it's going to kick out of this repeat block. So what do we want our robot to do? Well, we're going to go back up here to the regular movement, and we're just going to stop the motors. We're going to go ahead and turn them off so it finishes, doesn't crash into a wall or anything like that. Now, what we want to be able to do here next is capture the time. How fast did our dragster go down the racetrack? So we're going to need to create a variable, because if we don't do this, the timer is going to just keep keeping track of time, and there's no way to capture that essential moment when it crossed the finish line. So we're going to make a variable, and we're just going to call it time. And now you can see we've got some variable coding blocks here that we can use. So we're going to go here, and we are going to set the time, and we're going to set the time, or the variable, not to any numeric number, but to the timer. So as soon as it crosses it stops, boom, it's going to capture that time. And because depending on the size of your track, you may not be at the finish line right away, so we're going to put in a repeat block here, and we're just going to default it to 3. You can make it whatever you would like. We're going to pop up here to these purple light blocks, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to write the timeout. So as opposed to writing a word like hello, we want to use our variable that we just created called time. And what that's going to do, it's going to write out whatever that snapshot was when we crossed the finish line. And it's going to show that time 3 times in a row. So in case you missed the first one as it scrolls through, or the second one, you still got a chance. And you could modify that the way you want. And that right there is the code for the dragster. Nice little countdown timer with the noise, kicks in the high gear going full throttle, and then displays the time here at the end. Alright, my friends, I would love to see your dragsters. I'd love to see how fast you are on down your racetrack, and best of luck with all your coding and building endeavors. Take care.